All right. How is it going, my magnificent sons of bitches? And I wanted to come back and do this will probably be a, fairly quick video from maybe 30 minutes at the most. Try not to go over too much over that. But with that being said, I wanted to go ahead and do a video on this because I think that it's pretty important. The internet's trying to ignore it, particularly on Twitter, because normally I guarantee you, if say a Republican, like say, I'm trying to think of one that would that's not really promoted on the Republican stage, but let's say like a Romney were to go ahead and flip to the Democrat Party, you wouldn't hear the end of it. It'd be all over their remedial news sites that get really no views at the end of the day, which is going to be a part of this video. And ultimately, the deal is that I didn't think that anybody could win on the national stage. Honestly, on the national stage, I don't count Biden because we all know exactly. I think everybody's pretty much got the fucking gist, except for the people in Silicon Valley that'll sit there and try to. You can't say about the 2020 election because that's misinformation. You can't sit there and do that on our social media sites. You know how they are. So I mean, I don't count the fucking 2020 and the 2018 little midterms because we all understand that we're all very suspect of it. Let's just go ahead and put it exactly how it is. But with that being said, the one candidate that the Democrats actually had that I thought could actually win a national election was Tulsi Gabbard. Now, I remember saying that if the Democrats were intelligent, if they had instead of having these ridiculous, what you would consider these little millennial type of soy latte drinking cucks that are Democrats, you know what I'm saying, that just are sycophants and ass kissers running their campaign, pretty much you get what you pay for. They're all volunteer work people that are, trying to contribute to this. And a lot of them don't have a lot of life experience. This is exactly who's in charge right now in DC, pretty much. This is why they really can't connect with anybody because they have like zero life experience. They've lived a very sheltered life. And ultimately, what you're looking at is, the State Department, Hollywood, and pretty much the left as a whole, just they can't connect with anybody in middle America who work a 9 to 5, who live a real actual fucking life. And so they're having an inability. They just can't connect with anybody. That's it. Outside of their little markets that they have in their cities and whatnot, and their little echo chambers, that's as close as they can get to actually connecting with anybody. However, you had Tulsi Gabbard, who kind of, she served in the military. So she does have that ability to go ahead and connect with people on not an intimate level, but at least a personal level. Like people can identify with Tulsi Gabbard to a degree. The rest of them, you cannot. You can't, you can't sit there and say you identify with Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez. You can't sit there and say you identify with Rashida Tlaib and all the stupidity, the stupid shit and the publicity stunts that they do. We understand this. So what you have going on is probably the best true blue Democrat candidate jumping off the party. The best candidate, the best opportunity they had at winning a national election. Now, I said if I was a political strategist for the Democratic Party going back from 2008, as I've already said, I would have never rigged the election in, 2016, the primary election, that is, against Bernie Sanders. Democrats feel like they could get away with it. Why? Because the Democrats are so out of touch. They're like, well, we can rig it against Bernie Sanders because he's a white man. We can't rig it against. And that's the thought process of the people that are currently attached to the Democrat Party. This is why they can't connect with people. So, I mean, if they were going to rig it, If they were going to rig a primary, they should have rigged the primary for Hillary in 2008, not in 2016. Why? Because at least Hillary's reputation, up until that point, wasn't as tarnished in 2008 as it ended up being in 2016. I'm not saying that Hillary was likable, more likable in 2008. She wasn't. But I would like to see Tulsi Gabbard and Rand Paul ticket. I'd actually like to see that the other way around. I'd like to see Rand Paul be president and Tulsi be vice president. But yeah, I can kind of occur with that. I think that right now our economy, I don't think that Tulsi is qualified to go ahead and take, handle our current economical. I do think that Rand Paul does have a plan. So I would take a Paul Gabbard ticket over a Gabbard Paul ticket. And believe it or not, Tulsi is younger than I am. So, she's still, Rand Paul is going to have more experience. Plus he's a local guy too. And so, yeah, that would be a good ticket right there. But with that being said, but Tulsi does have the drawing power. Don't get me wrong. She has the capability, and I do think she will be president one day. But with that being said, if it was me and I was the Democrat strategist back in 2008, I would have rigged the election, the primary, against Obama for Hillary Clinton. I would have allowed Hillary Clinton to go ahead and run all these ridiculous policies that they ended up throwing on Obama and say, we need you to go ahead and push this as a diversity hire, pretty much. That's exactly why they went ahead and put Obama on the ticket, and they Hollywood did their part with, putting black presidents on TV and making black characters of black leadership roles. But ultimately, it would have been better if they would have ran with Hillary because Obama didn't have the luggage that Hillary had. So if they would have put Obama in the position that that Tulsi Gabbard found herself in after Trump's election, well, then we can understand that Obama probably could have. I'm not going to say that it would have been 110%. Obama could have beat Trump, but I think that it would have been a hell of a lot closer. It'd been a hell of a lot harder to go ahead and distinguish. And everybody knew that Hillary wasn't going to win in 2016. No, I mean, and I'm not sure. Maybe Ray, were you a Democrat back then? I don't know, but I know you live in the Dallas area, so you know a lot of people that were Democrats. Do you know any Democrat? Because I've never heard of one Democrat voting for Hillary. Not one. They all couldn't stand her, And so I don't know of one Democrat. I think that actually, if you really did the numbers, Democrats that voted for Hillary. Did you know? Because I've never heard of a Democrat because they were all hardcore for Bernie, and when Bernie lost. I only know, all the Democrats that I know were I only know one guy, actually, and it was here on YouTube, said he was voting for Gary Johnson. All the rest of them were voting for Jill Stein. Every Democrat that I know was voting for Jill Stein. And I think that was like a tongue-in-cheek thing because Jill Stein was a female. I don't think that they totally 110% bought into Jill Stein. Dallas is moderate. Dallas is fucking a Democrat shithole, dude. I'm not gonna lie, it's not moderate at all. It's leftist. I mean, that's one of the reasons why I don't like going up there, is because I know I would probably get irritated real fucking quick in Dallas, because they like to push the little buttons and they don't know what the fuck they're talking about. And whenever you go ahead and respond to them, it's just like they did to me on Twitter. They'll kick you off if you have a point. If you make them look stupid, which isn't hard to do, they end up kind of suspending you, banning you, blackballing you because their position can't handle any criticism. But like I said, if they would have ran Hillary and screwed Obama, then they could have probably held the White House for 16 years. Because I do think that I think Obama could have potentially beat Trump. Now, those people that are Republican friends of mine will disagree with me. but we're looking at this in hindsight. We're not giving Obama Obamacare because it's no longer Obamacare. It's Hillary care. We're not doing the whole quantitative easing that happened under Obama. We're not doing any of that stuff. Because essentially Obama is never in there, so Obama doesn't have to push the globalist policies. He would start with a clean slate. And I think Obama's charisma could carry him. I don't think that I knew that Hillary's charisma didn't have any charisma. It's the same way I felt with John McCain whenever he was running against Obama. I knew that John McCain wasn't going to beat Obama. John McCain barely had a pulse. John McCain, and Mitt Romney. Now, Mitt Romney did a hell of a lot better than I thought he would. And the only reason why Mitt Romney was so close is because Obama was more of a Marxist. It was starting to be revealed that he was more of a Marxist. He ended up turning off a lot of people. And I think that 2012 was whenever Obama actually lost North Carolina. North Carolina has been, pretty strong red ever since. But ultimately, I think Obama would have done very, very well against Trump over Hillary. Hillary wasn't going to beat Trump. It wouldn't have mattered if it was Jeb. Hillary wouldn't have beat Jeb. Nobody likes Hillary. That's why she could not get the primary back in 2008. She wasn't very likable. However, you could have rigged the primary in 2008 and then still they could have held the seat for 16 years between Hillary and Obama. But that didn't happen. So, with that being said, now it's looking back at it in hindsight, this is just, like I said, this is the Democrat strategist. They thought, well, we'll get Obama in, he'll be the first black president, and we'll be able to get all our policies passed because he was probably the more popular candidate running in 2008. And then coming back again in 2012, he was the most, and it was just their greed and stuff, trying to push this agenda too fucking quick. Being that desperate, the party is that desperate. They are the party of desperation. But with that being said, that was an opportunity that they missed. And so we come back in 2016, whenever Hillary was going to run. And of course, they built Trump up like a heel, for most of his life. He was built up as a degenerate. They put out all these movies and stuff with him, Biff Tannen supposedly being Donald Trump, kind of doing that, what you would call social engineering and shit, getting perspectives and getting it built in your mind that this guy is a villain, ultimately for it to backfire because people were so tired of the establishment people that they're putting into place. So I said that ultimately, if the Democrats were smart, that, forget your Bidens, forget your Pelosi's, forget your Schumers or whoever the fucks that they have that are their national candidates, right? Much like the Republicans had to do. The Republicans had to forget the Bushes. They had to forget the, Paul Ryans and the McConnells and shit like that. And they had to, go out of their little, wool house right there and bring in somebody that was kind of loud, that was kind of obnoxious, that, pretty much went out and, gave as good as he got. And then that's how they got Trump in. And so the Democrats never learned that lesson. See, I thought that the ultimate ticket for the Democrats to run and to be believable, if they really wanted to put up, I don't think Gabbard, because I personally wouldn't vote for Gabbard. I don't trust her. She does have a lot of connections with the Council of Foreign Relations. It's just a little bit too much for me. I already know her positions on quote unquote gun control and whatnot, which we know that these policies would never work, especially whenever you take in consideration a centralized government that cannot be trusted right now, as we could tell by shutdowns, lockdowns, mandates, and the current state of our economy with the inflation and the rising gas prices. You have to earn that confidence. You have to earn that trust. And to fucking think that you're going to be able to go out there and say, oh, now we're going to go and take, no, absolutely not. Not without a fucking fight. And that's going to be a hard fight. It's not going to be like China. See, it was different in China and in Cuba and in Russia whenever they passed communism, because they had already had a military style thing going on. Military was a way of life. They had competent military leadership that was able to go ahead. You don't have that here. You don't have that going on in this country. So I thought that ultimately a candidate like this would have been my ticket if I was the Democrats. I would have said, Tulsi, we're going to tap you. We want you to go ahead and consider running for the president of the United States. We're going to do what we can for you, and putting her with Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson. Now, Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson has some drawing power left still. Maybe not as much. Dwayne can't carry a campaign. He's not a good politician, but he wouldn't have to be VP. If you would have put him with Tulsi Gabbard at the time, then ultimately that ticket would have been, ridiculously popular, all over the country and whatnot. Like I said, the only problem is that if Dwayne got caught in a political debate, he wouldn't be able to go ahead and, he would be trapped. He'd be pigeonholed. They would make. However, with that being said, if you could protect him as a VP, give him talking points, and just put him out there as a face, then maybe later on you can go ahead and groom him on the finer qualities that he should be knowing to be in a leadership position. And I thought that would have been probably the best ticket that the Democrats could have possibly put up to even compete right now, because they've lost so much credibility. However, with that being said, that's not going to happen anymore. Even if Tulsi Gabbard's probably not going to go Republican, but if she went into independent, if she went on an independent party and then recruited people into that independent party with her, she'd be more dangerous to the Democrats as an independent than she would be if she was a Republican. And any competent Democrat that still claims to be Democrat would understand that, hey, this is the real party. This is the real liberal party. The Democrats are communist, and we can't sit there and compromise with communists. We could sit there and go ahead and creep back into that centrist position of still having the freedom of speech, of still having the right to bear arms, of having all these individual freedoms, and how we should use these individual freedoms and whatnot. And we could have these discussions. But you can't have a discussion with the Democrat when they suspend and ban and censor the fuck out of everybody. It's just impossible. So they can't be tolerated. So whenever the election rolls around and they get their ass kicked, the State Department is not going to be able to sit there and say, oh, we're going to stop the election. There's a leak in some sort of, you're getting really fucking close to where you're not giving the American people any other fucking option. You look at fucking, you wanted democracy. I'm sure that fucking, that Mussolini wanted democracy until democracy turned against him. Fucking, Marie Antoinette wanted democracy until it turned against her. Whenever democracy doesn't, what good is a Democrat Party that no longer has the majority behind it? It's not democracy. You don't understand what democracy is. Yes, democracy is majority rules. And if the majority, and this is the thing, and I'll go ahead and leave a link. I should have went ahead and left a link before I done this video. But if you want to go ahead and watch a channel that gets organic views, the Conspiracy Series channel with Dark Horse Purge is, I had to go, and I'll leave a link in the descriptions. Maybe I'll leave it in the comment section after this video is posted. But you go ahead and watch that series that he's doing, exposing. He's putting in the effort. He's doing an investigation into Chris Benoit. Not only Chris Benoit been helping him, he's been doing investigation into other wrestlers, and he's looking for evidence, suspicious things. He's looking for patterns and stuff. And so, it's getting organic traffic. I think he got 22,000 views on a video, which really for the internet, probably back 10 years ago, it's not a lot. It's not a great number, but it's organic for his channel because it is a smaller channel. So for him, it is doing pretty well. And with that being said, uh, it's pretty comparable to anything that goes on today. Couldn't do it without your help. Yeah, and like I said, it's a good channel, man. And I'll have to go ahead. Like I said, I'll leave a link in the. But those are organic views, and I dare you to go look at anything right now on Facebook. Go look up ESPN. Go look up their sports contents. This is a major network right here. This is a big leftist network. You remember they were all kneeling not that long ago. Oh, hashtag BLM bullshit that they were doing. Go on Facebook and look up some of their posts on some of their stuff where they're covering some of their articles. They'll get 1.3K views, on some of their stuff. The Young Turks, like a lot of their stuff is only getting 22 to 23,000, 23K views, and that's all. Those are not organic views. That's their botting because they bought immediately. All these networks will bot up their views and shit as soon as they drop an article, hoping it'll go viral and hoping you'll be invested into it. But go look at Twitter. Go look at some of the trends. I mean, it used to back in the days, you'd have trends that would get to about 12 million, 5 million, retweets, trends, and stuff like that. Now, the highest trend is usually like 200,000, maybe. And the number one trend is like something generic like 18,000. It doesn't even work by what's popular anymore. They just put what they want to up at top. So it's like, AEW, but it's not bringing out any ratings. I was looking at, this shows you how much the left is out of touch because these are their platforms. There's no organic traffic on Facebook. There really isn't. All I see is the same dumb, ridiculous, stupid crap by these ridiculous people and that work, probably at home on their computer, liberal arts majors out there. Oh, I got a degree in graphic design that put out some little shit, and they put out some meme, and it gets like 1,900 likes or something like that. Something ridiculous that doesn't make any sense. So you can tell that they're kind of botted if you've been on the internet. So a lot of this shit is not organic. Even on YouTube, it's not organic. A lot of views. My views are organic, but I only get like 35 views a video. You know what I'm saying? So it's not that much. So, but like a lot of these people are just basically in echo chambers. They sit there and they support each other's channel and whatnot, which there's nothing wrong with doing that. But I meant all of their material is kind of blah. I mean, if you were to sit there and like I'll watch it for a little while, as soon as the commercial comes on, I turn it off. Unless it's something that I'm really thoroughly interested in or investigating, I'm not going to watch it. If it's somebody just giving an opinion on, who won an A&W wrestling match, I'm not watching it. If it's somebody that's sitting there talking about how, freaking Alabama Crimson Tide looks solid this year, and that's their opinion, I'm not watching it. Sports media is kind of dead because the sports are kind of dead. And to be honest with you, looking at the reactions, look at the ratings, looking at the traffic here on the internet, and looking at the likes to dislikes and stuff like that, we can tell that, like I said, I looked up the number one movie was Smile, I think, which is some sort of generic horror movie. It is what it is. I thought about going to see it. It looked interesting enough. But that was the highest grossing movie over all of these Twitter trends for Amsterdam or whatever it is. All of these movies that they were trying to promote on Twitter for everybody to go out and go see and become blockbuster hits, they're not. The Smile movie only brought in like $5 million. And everything else was like 2 million, 3 million. When Bros was like at 500,000 and stuff. And it's pushing fucking LGBTQ Democrat propaganda for their generic ass shit, for their grifting. So we could tell ultimately that even their their marketing on their networks and stuff isn't even working. So they don't have that influence anymore. They've completely lost all confidence. They've ultimately started, killing off traffic. So whenever you have a Polston over there, whenever you have a Polston, whenever you have a Tulsi, I'm looking at Dark Horse's comment again. Whenever you have a Tulsi Gabbard running for, that's getting as popular as she is, and albeit she is on Fox, and the thing about Fox is Fox transitions better to social media. And then, because like I said, with a lot of the content that content producers create, me included, is if you were to come across this video later on, 9 times out of 10 Tucker Carlson is going to follow me, because it's we're marketing to the same audience essentially, which is the audience that these people in Hollywood, these people in Silicon Valley, these people that are on the left, these people in media neglect. Everybody else that's not in Hollywood and in DC. That's the kind of audience that we're looking for. We're trying to make content for the audience that has to pay like $3.50 to $6 a gallon of gas. We don't care about these people that are sitting there talking about, how dare you talk about climate change and stuff like that. We don't care about that shit. Nobody gives a shit about fucking your Uvalde commercials or whatever it is. I vote for Beto. Beto's going to end up losing Texas. It's going to be really, 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 it's going to be embarrassing for the Democrats, because they can't even beat a Greg Abbott. You can't beat a Greg Abbott. Then you're in serious trouble if you can't beat Greg Abbott. If you can't beat fucking Dr. Oz, then you're in serious trouble. And the party is, like I said, it's been on dialysis even before. The sheer fact that they couldn't beat Donald Trump should tell you something. The sheer fact that they could not make the election, give the illusion that Hillary Clinton could have even beat Donald Trump should tell you something. Because we know damn sure good and well that they have no problems, rigging. They don't have any problems doing that. We know that they don't have any problems in election fraud. Everybody knows this fucking shit. It's almost like a walking joke. Before the fucking 2020 election, it was a walking joke of, the dead people always vote for the Democrats. It's been that way ever since fucking desegregation, and then they started losing elections overwhelmingly and using Hollywood as a propaganda hub to go ahead and try and use that extension to discriminate against anybody who wasn't a Democrat, i.e. the Republicans for the most part. But to be honest with you, even back in 1992, to be honest with you, fucking Ross Perot ran a pretty good campaign. He, got a lot of votes for a third party candidate. And I voted for him in 1996. So, it is what it is. But I do think that ultimately Tulsi Gabbard, and you could say Manchin, you can say Sinema, Kristen Sinema and Joe Manchin are, also competent, coherent Democrats and stuff because of the states that they're in. But they didn't have the clout. They didn't have the national stage and the national attention that Tulsi has gotten. So, I can't put them in the same, with the same capability as running. Like I said, Tulsi is about like 4 years younger than me. So, she's, attractive. A lot of guys find her attractive. She's smart. She knows how to conduct herself. And so she was by far the best candidate to run as a Democrat for that party. And like I said, if you would have stuck her with Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson, it would have been hard to stop her. It would have been hard to stop her. Nigh impossible. I think Trump would have beat her, but you would have found it hard for anybody else. Maybe ran. I would vote, because I'm not even voting in 2024 because I don't care, to vote for Trump. And I know that's who's going to run. So, I know Scott's going to vote for Trump, and I know a lot of other people are voting for Trump. I know that the MAGA people are going to be out in force. That's 80, million strong, at least 80 million strong, that are going to be out in force. And I can guarantee you those people who are fuck Joe Biden, they're going to be out in force. And I've already done this, kind of like I've done the math and stuff, looking at the algorithms between the MAGA groups and the fuck Joe Biden groups. And yes, I understand that the MAGA people are fuck Joe Biden too. But I'm talking about the people who just hate Joe Biden, that are, that just hate the way that the economy is. The fuck Joe Biden, not the MAGA. I'm drawing a line. And from what I get and from what I gather right now, as far as popularity, not only for fucking Biden, but for the party and whatnot, is that there's only really about 8 million people that I can tell, that I can identify here by the numbers, by the algorithms, by sitting there looking at likes to dislikes, looking at the ratios, looking at comments, going on all platforms and seeing this. It's only probably about 8 million people right now at the most. This is one of those things that probably are one of those red flags that probably went up on Twitter before I got banned. I was sitting there talking about this to various people. Yeah, there's no way that Joe Biden has what did they say, a 41% approval rating? No way. Yeah, it's probably less than 10%. It's probably about 10%. That's probably his actual approval rating. You do it in these cherry-picked straw polls that you do, and then, yeah, you could get it up to 41%. But his approval rating, if you're being honest, is probably about 10%. That's what I see on the internet. And I don't care what the MSNBC, because the MSN polls and shit like that haven't been right for years. They're generic. They're going off of old data that the Democrats, the registered Democrats in this country, are still 31%, which we know is not true. It hasn't been since they screwed over Bernie Sanders. A large majority of Democrats crossed over to Republicans. And they don't let you know exactly how many. So, yeah, you're not going to get accurate information, particularly on Google. Like, if you're going to look up information, I suggest going to, like, some of these other sites. I would probably go ahead and look up another site. DuckDuckGo is going to be a little questionable. It used to be pretty good, but, now it's a little bit questionable. They're kind of bending a knee. But there are other search engines that you could use. I can't think of one right off the top of my head, but, like, I know I got some download to my phone. I'd have to go back and look at them. Kiwi is one of them, as a matter of fact. That's how I get my like to dislike ratio. So, they're out there. There are other search engines that you could use that are more effective than Google. But you're not going to get any accurate information and accurate numbers from the internet right now, because it's all ran out of California for the most part. Google, YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, they're all part of Silicon Valley. So, and this is why their numbers are basically, this is why all the numbers are generic, because they're not honest people. We know that they'll lie. They have the illusion of power. They don't have any power, but they have the illusion of power. They have the illusion of trust, because they can have the media come out and do these episodes of how great they are and how dangerous we are. And at the end of the day, nobody trusts them. So, you're only making content for each other. This is one of the issues why I don't really care that they suspended me from Twitter, because all Twitter is people trying to sell products to other shills that are trying to sell their products. Nobody's in the market. Everybody else is trying to sell. That's what it is. They're trying to sell their product, but nobody's in the market of buying somebody else's, stuff right now. So it's kind of like a waste of time. So, yeah, this is kind of where we're at right now. I think that the Democrat Party has probably lost their only chance. And even if they were to try and find somebody in the fucking utter abyss that is the Democrat Party to go ahead and, put up there and build up as any kind of charismatic leader of the Democrat Party, it would still take, years before they could get any confidence or any trust. You look at the fucking yahoos that they have going on right now. Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez is technically an attempt of them trying to put up a charismatic progressive. Rashida Tlaib, all the squad. They're supposed to be the Democrats' version of their charismatic leadership, and they're constantly fucking criticized, and they're constantly fucking bashed, and they're constantly fucking humiliated, constantly. First off, because their positions are garbage, and second off, because everything is so generic around them. Everybody understands, so they're not able to connect with anybody. So it would take probably years for them to get the confidence to go ahead and build up some sort of charismatic leader, much less put up a charismatic candidate. And in 2024, Trump is rolling in, and Trump is that cult of personality right now going in. MAGA is the cult of personality movement. So, yeah, I would hate to be fucking leftist right now. I'd hate to be a fucking Democrat in the foreseeable future because, I mean, other than drawing on your war chest or something like that, I just don't believe that there's a lot of opportunities for them in the national election right now. I think that their best opportunity is now jumping ship, and if she goes off and creates her own party in Tulsi Gabbard, well, then you could see the fall of the Democrat Party right now, of them being a generic Green Party, third party type, and a new party being built. And I do think that I think Tulsi would be more capable of building up a third party than Donald Trump was with the Patriot Party, because the Republican Party, you wasn't going to go ahead and divide the Republican Party, but it's much easier right now to go ahead and do a liberal party for the Democrat voters that lean left, that right now support the superficial causes and think wedge issues are the most important thing. You can at least put in a competent leader and ultimately siphon off all the Democrat support than you can the Republicans right now. And I mean, you look at the Democrats right now, and they're, she's absolutely 110% right for leaving the fucking party, because they're like, oh, well, Putin is a threat to this country, and he's a danger, and he's going to cause nuclear war. And they're, having these nuclear talks and shit like that. You know what? We don't have any evidence that Russia as a country or Putin has ever been in danger of firing a nuclear missile on a civilian population. But we do have fucking proof and evidence, and history shows that the Democrats surely fucking will. Because I don't know if you know this or not, but the only party to ever drop a nuclear bomb is the Democrat Party. They're the only they're the party of white supremacy. It's funny how you turn everything around and say that everybody else suffers from your same chemical mental imbalances and shit that you have. But, we do have evidence that the Democrats will start, because you started now, you'll go ahead and talk about Bush and Desert Storm and Iraq 2, Afghanistan. Those wars were a hell of a lot more successful than any of the Democrat wars. When you're talking about the Democrat wars, you're talking about World War I, World War II, Vietnam. So the Democrats have no problems of getting us into war, and we could tell that the fucking Democrat Party currently is trying to get us into another world war. You've already got us into 2 world wars. You want to go ahead and get us into a third one? You tried to get us into a third one with Vietnam. So yeah, I don't think that I'll be ever taking advice from a Democrat on anything, particularly economics, as we could tell right now with our inflation and our currency, and the recession from Carter, and your history of economics. I don't think that there's any kind of real fucking reason why we would listen to your policies, because you have no fucking clue. As far as it's talking about diplomatic, yeah, you guys are not the most stable diplomatically. Whenever you're talking about, individual constitutionalists, as bad as the Republicans were under Bush, you fucking guys are fucking god awful. Y'all are even worse. So, yeah, this is where we're at right now. So yeah, I figured I'd go ahead and drop this video. I'll go ahead and drop a link to Dark Horse's Conspiracy Series channel. I got to go back and find it again. But yeah, you people, tell me what you think. You like, sub, do the shit YouTube tells me to do to get over. And for now, I'm out.